Hey guys, welcome back to my sewing room. My name is Amanda. If you haven't been here before, if you have, welcome back. In today's video, I'll be showing you guys how to make this really pretty fitted style dress. It has separate cups and it also has side cutouts. This would be perfect for a wedding dress or even a reception dress if you extended the train even longer, or extended the skirt even longer, or added a separate train to it. This is a two-part video, so this is part one, and I will have part two linked in the description box below for you guys to check out after this video. If you guys haven't subscribed to the channel yet, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. Also hit notifications so you guys can be notified every time I upload a new video. If you guys are interested in learning how I drafted this pattern, as well as all of my other patterns here on the channel, make sure to hit the join button down below to join the Mom That Sews membership to get exclusive members only content. Also, I do have this pattern for sale, so if you guys are interested, I have also put the link to it just down in the description box below. Now let's get to it. Okay, so these are all our pattern pieces ready to go. If you purchase the pattern, you want to have them all printed out and taped together, or if you draft it with us, you want to have it ready to go. So you want to have all your actual bodice pieces cut from a layer of satin as well as a layer of lining, and we have our lining interfaced. Okay, I'm using SF101 cotton interfacing. I also have my mesh panel here in the center cut from corset mesh, as well as our cutout pieces on the side. I have them cut from white corset mesh. I have my skirt pieces here, and I have them cut from a layer of satin as well as a layer of lining that is not interfaced. So we're only interfacing our bodice, okay? So this is our bodice, and like I said previously, we did draft this over in the members only section, so check that out if you guys want to learn how we drafted this pattern. I also went ahead and pre-assembled our cups because these are exactly the same method that I used in my previous video. I will link it above here, the video for the bridal bustier. This is also the same method that I used besides the lining in my detailed cup video, and I will also link that below in the description box for you guys to check out if you need a more detailed tutorial on how to create these cups. These are just my fully lined cups that, like I said, like I did in the last video, and these ones came out 1,000 times better than the last ones, so I'm really proud of myself. Okay, so we have all of our pattern pieces here. Please do not get intimidated. Remember, we have side cutouts. That's why we have more pieces, and then we also have our mesh panel here. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put our back pieces to the side, and I'm going to start building our front. I'm going to go ahead and sew all of these seams. So not the middle seam, obviously, because we still have to put our mesh panel in here. I'm going to sew these seams, this seam, and this seam, and I'll take you over to the sewing machine so you guys can go ahead and see that. These are all my front pieces. Now let's go ahead and do the same thing for the back. So we've got our center back, and we are putting a zipper in this one, so that's different too. Last time we put loops. We're putting a zipper in this one, and then we have our side back and then our mesh panel. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing with these. I'm matching, this is my lining, I'm matching these two, matching these two, these two, these two, these two. Okay. This video is sponsored by Skillshare. If you guys are unfamiliar with them, they are an online learning community and they're geared towards creative people. They have a plethora of different topics that you can learn from video editing, graphic design, even some sewing classes on there, y'all. I've been getting quite a few comments about how the quality of my videos has improved, and that is because of Skillshare. I have found quite a few classes on Skillshare. I just went ahead and searched video editing on their main website, and I found a great video that's called Power Video Editing Adobe Premiere Pro in 45 minutes, and that really has helped me expand my knowledge of Premiere Pro. Guys, if you are into video editing, this is really the class to take. Skillshare is also offering my subscribers a free trial down below in the description box of Skillshare Premium. After your trial is over, you can join Skillshare for less than $10 a month. That is super inexpensive, especially when it goes like courses and things like that. Super inexpensive. So go ahead and make sure to give yourself the gift of education for this new year so we can go ahead and hit the ground running. Okay, now let's get back to it. Okay, so here are our skirt pieces. I hope I'm gonna bring them down so you can kind of see the shape of them. And if you guys are a member on the channel, hey y'all, I did make a few modifications to this skirt pattern after I filmed the video, so I just want to go over that with everybody. So I know you guys know that instead of having the 2-inch cutout, I actually did a 4-inch. So that's self-explanatory. This is now a 4-inch, so it's a wider cutout to be more sexy. I said I also opted to have a like a set in side front panel, so that this is our waistline seam and this is our side mesh piece, and then our side front piece starts down here. So pretty much what I did was just seam manipulation. So this used to be our seam here, so we would have had a full side front panel here, and you can do that too, but I like the way the style line look when the seam curves into towards the side seam. So I just kind of drew a curved line and then cut it from here and taped it back onto here. So now we have the majority that was on here back onto this center front piece here. So it creates this kind of piece, and this is what it looks like. And I did the same thing for the back. I think I like this better, but I have been proven wrong before, so we're gonna find out. Front, a skirt and lining, and let's move on to the back, and then we can go ahead and get on to the sewing machine. And I do want to mention that our skirt does have a vent in the back because this is a very tight fitted skirt, so remember that we have a vent, and I'll show you guys how to sew one. I have a hard time lining them, but I'm going to try again today, and if it succeeds, y'all will know, and if it doesn't, and if it succeeds, you guys will know, and if it doesn't, you guys will know too. Okay, so for our back, I'm going to measure down for my top 10.5 inches and place pin there. I'm going to start here and sew down for the center back seam. And then we'll do the base, we'll do the basing and everything for the zipper once we have the bodice on. Alright, I'm going to sew these. I'm not going to sew them in any particular order. I'm just going to grab them and go, to be honest. And I'm sewing everything with a 1/2 inch seam allowance. And my stitch length is 2.5. All right, those are all of my bodice pieces assembled. I'm going to go ahead and put them over at the ironing table. Which I need to get a new cover for. I'm either thinking about getting a new cover or making a new cover out of like some Quilting cotton or something for my ironing table, or just getting a whole new ironing board, one of those industrial style ones. But I don't know if I can justify spending $100+ on an ironing table right now. Or at least not justify it to my husband. I can for sure justify it to myself. Okay, so we are here on our back lining. I'm sewing down our center back portion, as well as the vent. If sewing this is a little bit difficult for you, you could put some snips into the center back piece so it can easily curve around the curve of the side back piece. And same thing for front pieces. So exciting news, not really, but for me it is. Last night I took the leap and purchased like 4 different bag patterns. In my last video I talked about wanting to make some bags as a hobby. I purchased 4 bag patterns and all the fabrics and materials to make those bags. I'm going to give them out to like my mom and my stepmom and my mother-in-law, and with matching wallets for Christmas. So wish me luck with that, y'all. If you guys want to see, like, I don't know, definitely not a tutorial, but if you guys want to see a sew along, I guess you would call it, making those bags, let me know down in the comment section below. I know that bag making isn't what my channel is about, but shit, it's sewing, so let me know if you guys would be interested in seeing those. And now let's finish up strong with our front pieces. You guys see how quick this is going together? It's literally been 19 minutes. And this is why I love to batch sew, because I can get these dresses cranked out quick, okay? So take it slow if you need to around the curve. I like to sew curve, and then when I feel like the curve is starting to curve more, then I stop, adjust myself, and keep going. Like I said, you could also put snips in the straighter portion of the curve, well, the straighter part, and then you can just completely pin this, which doing that will give you definitely a neater seam than what I'm doing here. But like I said, your girl pin's gone, girl. They're gone. Lastly, we have to do the lining, and then after we do all of this, we're going to go ahead and get everything serged before we get it pressed. Alright, so like I said in my last video, I serge everything. I think a lot of people associate serging with things that are clean finished. So I make sure that everything is serged and clean on the inside. And sometimes, you know, we're working with a lot of satins and crepes and things like that in the bridal world. Taffetas, oh my goodness. And those fabrics tend to fray quite a bit. All right, so that quick, and we already have our lining mostly assembled and our outer layer almost mostly assembled. So I went ahead and pressed all of my lining seams open. I did add my label, and then for our skirt layers, I snipped all of our curves and then pressed everything towards the center. Side note, have this gorgeous glass that I got from Joann's. I don't want to tip it over. I've got some cranberry juice in it with these gorgeous vintage ladies. I wish that someone, anyone who's listening, can make me one of these vintage cups with some brown girls on it. I've been searching and searching. I can't find any vintage lady brown girls. Food for thought. I pressed my my kick pleats to both sides for now. We'll see how that is going to be. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and put my lining over to the side, because our next step before we put this all together is to go ahead and bone this. And I want to finish our bodice before we bone this. So I'm just going to fold it all up together and put it to the side. This is our outer layer. While we're here, let's get our skirt all finished up and out of the way. I'm going to get my mesh panels for the skirt. And I'm going to get them pinned onto here. Pinning them on the same way we did the top ones. All right, we'll put those to the side while we work on our bodice. Our back pieces are pretty much done, but we still have to do our front. So these mesh panels, I literally just insert like you would do an invisible zipper, okay? That's probably a horrible reference, but I start from the bottom this time because I need the bottom to be aligned, because I can't remember how high the top goes up, and I should have transferred over my notches, but I didn't. Shame on me. Okay, and then I'm going to take this over to the machine, and I'm going to sew this with a 1/2 inch seam allowance. Then I'm going to go ahead and flip this out like this, and then put this side right sides down, matching up the bottom. And then I'm going to sew that with a 1/2 inch seam allowance. I'm going to do that and I'll be right back. Alright, so I've got our mesh panel in, and you can finish this really one of two ways as far as putting our lace overlay on it. You can attach the waist to the skirt front right now, and then do your entire lace overlay, and then do an overlay for your cups separately, which is what I think I'm going to do. Or you can sew your cups on and then sew your waistline seam and then try to do a one-piece overlay. I've done it both ways, and the first way that I explained it is easier, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and put these cups over to the side again. I'm going to get out our skirt pieces, and once again I'm just going to sew the mesh panels onto the side the same way we did with our bodice pieces. I'm going to skip that because we have to do our lace, and our lace is going to take up quite a bit of time. So let's go ahead and sew our cutouts for our front and our back. Okay, so I've got our mesh panels put in to our sides the same way we did. I serged it, pressed it to the inside. I did a snip here so we can still have our seam allowance at the side seams, and then I also serged my side seams, because when we put these together I want to be able to alter my side seams just in case I need to take it in or make it bigger. So I serged them independently, and I also serged my waistline here at the top. Alright, so now what we're going to do is put our waistline, put our bodice onto our skirt, matching our waistlines. And at this point, it's more important to match our side cutouts than anything else. So that's what I'm trying to match. And don't be, really upset if when you turn this back out, it doesn't match. Just try to get as close as you can. And then I'm going to match the other side. And then I'm just going to ease in between, which there shouldn't be any easy if you drafted the pattern the way we drafted it in the tutorial. I will link above here for you guys to go ahead and check out if you're interested in becoming a member on the channel. And I didn't serge the waistline of my bodice, but I should have. But it's kind of too late now. Not really, but kind of for me it is. So for you guys, make sure you serge the waistline of this bodice, because this stuff is just fraying. Okay, now that I have that taken care of, now I'm just going to go ahead and match my seam here. Okay, now I'm going to just sew this with a 1/2 inch seam allowance, and I'm going to do the same thing for the back pieces. Okay, so this is how we're looking once you sew the waistline seam and you want to go ahead and press that seam towards the skirt. Now it's time for the fun part. Well, the fun but most annoying. We're going to go ahead and do our lace overlay. This is the beautiful lace that we're using today, and I will link it below in the description box if you guys are interested in purchasing this lace. I am going to try to find the center of any motif you like, really. You can do this with any lace, but I like to find almost like the center point of the repeat of the pattern, and then I'm placing that along my center front, and then I'm just going to go ahead and pin outwards. I'm going to do a preliminary pin while it is facing up, and then I'm going to trim around it, and then I'll go ahead and flip it over and then do a better pin so that I know it's nice and smooth. And like I said, I'm going to speed through this like I do with all of my lace laying, but you just want to make sure that everything is smooth. That's the object here, right? You want to make sure that everything's nice and smooth so that when we sew our side seam, there's no puckering. Here I am stopping sewing to answer a lot of you guys comments and things that you ask me on Facebook. So if you guys aren't in my Facebook group, make sure to join my Facebook group. I will leave the name to it below for you guys to search it on Facebook. I try to get on there every day and answer everyone's questions, and that's just a easier, more direct way to ask me your questions. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and move on to the back. I have my back here, and I must say that I kind of regret putting a kick pleat in the dress because I'm just like, I don't know how to put the lace around the kick pleat, but we will figure it out. Okay, so I'm just pinning it all the way around, and I'm even pinning it down the center back seam because I want that center motif that we had in the front. I want that also to be the center of the center back too. So I'm placing that. I'm placing it right at the center. Well, I'm trying to, and I am going to go ahead and pin around it and cut around it just like how we did the front. Once I finish that, I'm trying to figure out how I want to do the cups here. I thought maybe I should do with just like the dotted sequin, and then I'm like, no, how would that even work? So then I ended up actually just using the top trim piece and just laying it on there after it was already applied. I did film that, but I have no idea where it went with all of these hours. Y'all, I have like 30 hours of footage, and some things got lost, so I apologize. I'm sure, this isn't the last video with cups that I'm going to do, so I will show you guys how to do this in a later video. And excuse my light here, I'm still trying to figure out how to dim the light of my sewing machine, but sometimes when I put it really high, I can't see what I'm doing, so I'm sorry about how bright it is here. But all I'm doing is basting all the way around my front and back pieces to secure the lace on there so I can get all of the pins out of there. The last thing that we're going to do in today's video, because we're already almost at 30 minutes, I'm going to go ahead and insert my zipper. So if you guys have watched me for a while, you know I like to do my zipper in the 3-step method. So step 1, I'm basting my seam closed, and then I press that seam open, and then I'm going to go ahead and baste my closed zipper to the seam allowance of the center back, and then I open the center back, and then I sew the final seam. Okay, I hope this video was as interesting as it was for me to make it. I know this is not really beginner sewing, so I apologize for that. I do have some more simple dresses planned, but I know I had a lot of requests for the cutouts, so I wanted to show you guys how to go ahead and create a bodice like this, okay? I also want to give a big shout out to all of my lovely members here on the channel, as well as my patrons. Here are all of their names on the screen, and I'll see you guys in my next one.